Hello and welcome to Tell Me in Wrestling, the global podcast that uses ignorance and humour to fill the gaps between everyday life and professional wrestling. This week we're going to be looking at the month of May from the wrestling world. I am not Phil and not chronically ill, but chronically injured host Dan. And I'm here with my co-anchor, Carl.
Hello, how are we doing?
Hello.
No tag team name.
No tag team name. No, I'm not as creative as Phil. I think let's leave the niceties of tag teams to when Phil eventually comes back.
Yeah, so our boy's missing another week, but he sends his regards to all the Colombian listeners, especially. He'll be back.
Especially one Colombian listener.
Yeah, but he'll be back soon enough. But for now, you've got two wrestling geeks to take you through a whistle-stop tour of the month of May.
Gonna put your teeth in.
I know, easy for you to say, easy for me to say. So we're going to chat about a bit of wrestling news that happened in the month of May, and then who knows? I think next week's recording will even be in person, I believe. Daniel,
yes, we are meeting up in a few days' time in sunny University City, and we're going to go watch a wrestling show at our old student union as well. So
we are indeed. So look forward to that. How are you?
Right? I'm good. Yeah. Sad Phil's not here yet, but hopefully he's all right, and we'll get him back on the pod in soon enough. But happy to be on with you, Carl, and happy to be recounting everything, all the fun stuff that happened.
Quite a bit happened in May, actually.
I know it was quite a packed month.
It was, yeah. It'd be interesting to kind of get both of our opinions on a few things that happened. And,
so that's what the Colombians want.
Exactly, yeah. That's what they're absolutely fucking gagging for. And speaking of Colombians gagging, do you want a little poem?
Yes, hit me with a poem. What was the subject we gave you?
You gave me, not on the pod actually, but via text message, gave me the subject of AEW Collision, which we're obviously going to touch on later in this episode. So, Are you ready?
I am 100. I'm strapped in, strapped on. I'm strapped to everything.
Ready for fucking liftoff. Right. A press conference whine, a locker room fight. Now Big Tony is having to deal with this shite. All of Punk's mates follow him like a saviour and excuse his very questionable behaviour. But what I ask, does all of this mean? A new TV show up on our screen? Split everyone in half, name it Collision. Maybe they should call it Locker Room Division. This and more we are digesting on today's episode of Tell Me in Wrestling.
That's a really good, considering you've only had a few hours on that?
You sent me it this afternoon, didn't you?
Yeah, that's really good.
Whapped it together.
That's a very good poem. Very good poem, that.
There you go.
You summarised everything.
There we go. See?
You don't get that shit with AI, do you?
You do not. Fucking ChatGPT, bag of shit.
Well, you can't because it's only loaded up until 2021, so you'd have to feed it all those talking
points. Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I asked it a question for something, and it said I've only got information up until September 2021. So
didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's why, because you plug it to the internet, it'll there was a like War Games style test that they did with AI, and they plugged it into the internet, and the first thing it did was block the humans from being able to stop some warheads going off. I mean, it was all in a simulation.
Oh, really?
But yeah. I'll have to read more about it, but it was a really sort of basically Terminator style.
Yeah.
Execution.
We've not done AI for an episode, have we?
No, we need to do it. Because the moment we talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, that could be a subject.
Yeah, definitely.
So. All right. Are we ready? No games this week, I'm afraid, people. So look at that. That's the quickest intro you're ever going to see on this podcast.
I know,
less than 4 minutes.
We're in and out.
So it is time for the main event.
Bang. Oh, sorry. I thought we were waiting for it.
Looks like all the talking has been done. It's time for the main event.
This is why we need Phil. He can
I know, that was a huge delay on that when I pressed it.
Such a delay, yeah.
Okay, well, he must have it prepped, ready to go.
He's bangs on the finger. So we're going to talk about WWE first. and the month of May in WWE. And I think there's probably only really one place to start, and that was a new WWE heavyweight champion, or rather a new heavyweight championship that was announced.
Yes.
And what I loved about this was it was introduced as being, this is going to be Raw exclusive.
Yeah.
And this is for you to have a fighting champion on Raw.
Because Roman is currently holding all the belts.
Yeah, hostage over in SmackDown.
Yeah.
However, within one show, I don't even think it was. I think it was that Friday. Triple H then came out and said, "Oh yeah, there's qualifier matches for this at Night of Champions on SmackDown. We're going to have," and they broke it into, I think it was 2 triple threat matches each night.
Mm-hmm.
And then the winner of those triple threat matches then faced each other to then have a representative from SmackDown and a representative from Raw to fight at Night of Champions.
Such bollocks, isn't it?
It was just...
What I don't understand about this, why did they not just somehow split the titles at WrestleMania, give Cody one, and then they wouldn't have had to do any of this?
Well, they wanted that 1,000-day reign, didn't they? So,
but they could have still done that.
They could have done that. Yeah, they could have
carried on with it.
I think the only way they could have done that is if, again, it's just using a bit of foresight. And I mean, they throw a lot of crap at fans anyways, and you accept it. But all it would have taken is for Cody to go, "I don't want that belt. I want that belt."
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I'll fight you for at WrestleMania.
That's the belt. That's the lineage my dad wanted. And
exactly.
That's the one I don't care about. The Universal. Fuck me.
That's all it took.
That would have fixed all of this mess that they've gotten themselves into.
Because I'm pretty sure they haven't unified. When Roman won them both, they were never unified.
Mm-mm.
He was individually.
They've been 2 separate belts. Yeah.
Exactly.
2 different lineages.
Because the other times every time
lineage?
that somebody's...
Is that even the right word?
Lineage? Yeah.
Lineage?
Lineage,
yeah.
Because every time they've done it previously, they've immediately unified the belts, haven't they? And then called them a unified
undisputed or whatever, yeah.
But this is... well, I won't jump 3 weeks ahead and find out to the other belt.
Listen, mate, it's just May. We don't need to worry about timings on it.
But... yeah, as I say, that would have fixed it. But then they did. Because I'm guessing that's the only reason they didn't want Roman to lose is because they wanted him to surpass this 1,000 days.
Yeah, they want to have him champion for ages, and
yeah,
I expect that whoever does beat him, it will be a kind of it'll be like the person that they think is going to be the next big thing. I imagine, like
Gunter.
Maybe, I don't know, but someone who's like coming up. I can't imagine it's going to be someone established.
Bron Breakker.
Maybe, but is it? I don't know. But maybe in like years, maybe they want to keep.
What do you reckon? He's going to stay? They'll drag this out. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know, but I just don't think he's ready like yet. For example, that Bron Breakker. But
yeah,
I just don't. Otherwise, what is the fucking end game here? That's all I want to know.
Thing. Do you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna jump ahead. I think they have now unified the lineage of the Universal and the WWE.
Yeah, I saw this because Seth's title is basically...
Seth's title is the WWE. That's the big gold, essentially. That's the... Hang on, is it? Yes, no. Yeah, that's the lineage of the big gold title, which the last champion of that was Randy Orton. So that's reignited that lineage.
I'm sure I saw something the other day that said it was like fresh.
No, it's the world heavyweight champion. That's what Seth Rollins has got.
So the WCW one, basically.
Yes, yeah. So the lineage of that title is now, hence why it looks a little bit like. Well, I guess hence why. Who knows?
How when that technically is one of Roman's titles?
It's not. So the WWE title is Roman's title.
Yeah. What's the other one?
The other one was the Universal, which was just made up. That was a brand new title. That's the red title that they reduced that they gave to Finn Balor. That was
the 2 replaced. Oh no, maybe they didn't.
Yeah, so
they retired the world heavyweight, but the lineage from them when they retired that until now has been merged with the one Roman had, right?
So what happened was
It's like an incestuous
Yeah.
family, this fucking
when
tree.
I think there was at some point, I don't know if Randy Orton maybe merged them or something, but the lineage of the World Heavyweight was stopped then, but the lineage of the WWE has continued. WWE title, the World Heavyweight title, Big Gold, if we want to just, it's easy to refer it to that. Triple H's title that stopped with Randy
WCW
Orton.
title,
Yeah. That stopped with Randy Orton 7 years ago, maybe. The WWE continued. WWE, they may have called it World Title, but it never was the World Heavyweight Championship. So
on their website, I'm looking now. It says World Heavyweight Championship, 2023 to present. Championship holders 1, longest reign 9 days.
The World Heavyweight Championship,
the one that Seth has got now.
So they've
Universal says it's 2016 to present.
Yeah, that's the red one, are they?
It's like blue on it, and then the WWE Championship 1963 to present.
Yeah, but that's not the World Heavyweight. 1963 is the WWF, in it.
That's the WWE.
That's the one that. That's the one that Cody
so
won.
That says. This is fucking. This is the fucking podcast here. This is ridiculous.
Because it got unified. Well, not unified. Became undisputed and da.
So, yeah. So
Smoking
the one
Skull
Seth has is new.
Really? Technically, they're classing that as brand new
on their website. Yeah.
Oh, right. I stand corrected then. I could have sworn that. Again, I suppose you don't believe everything that you read on Twitter.
Does that mean that the WWE one then? No, sorry, the WCW, like the big gold one, that
became the World Heavyweight. That's always been the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah, but I mean, in current day, that has no
champion. That stopped at Randy Orton. That's what I believed. It stopped at Randy Orton.
This is fucking stupid.
And it was. It is just.
Well, yeah, this is insane. Yeah, they've not.
It's hard to. I stand corrected.
World Heavyweight title. World Heavyweight titles, like the Big Gold, 2002 to 2013. So they've not even counted the WCW part of it. You have to go all the way back to WCW World Championship 91 to 2001.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's
okay. Fair enough.
I mean, what you explained, mate, would have made more fucking sense for them to do at least.
Done. Yeah. Well, the Cody thing, which was come out beforehand and go, I don't care about that. I want this. That's the lineage that I want, and then Roman just defend that, and then you keep it strong.
That would have, but then you wouldn't have. Yeah, you might have changed the belts or whatever you might have done, but you could have kept how they were, just carried on with.
But there were still two separate. There still are two separate. Well, again, I don't know. Again, I don't think we find out until Friday because that.
Yeah.
I think they've now been merged. The Universal title and the WWE title have now been merged to the undisputed Universal Championship. So
it's so fucking dumb.
And they've given him this ugly ass.
Yeah.
Gold.
Let's talk about that for a second because what are your thoughts on this new belt?
It's just the same as all the other ones, isn't it? It's just gold inside of it.
So much shitter. They've somehow made it look worse.
They've somehow made that
It's not even on their website yet.
Logo look.
Like I understood the WWE Championship one, the black one with the massive W. Yeah, with the massive logo in the middle, because they give it to all the sports teams and it's a great kind of branding tool.
Yeah.
The gold version, it looks terrible. The logo is less prominent, so it's not even doing the job it used to do.
Yeah.
It's just what are they fucking playing at?
Because I think they've gone, well, we can't.
We can't. A gold fetish because he used to love WCW.
Yeah, we use the big gold in it. And it's like, I think
needs more gold.
It needed to look gold because what's better than having the blue one and the a blue and a black, just normal one. It's got to be gold to stand out from the other, the same way as how the other one looks like gold. But I think Roman looks synonymous with the old, well,
black
the
one.
logo, just the logo,
Yeah.
basically, really. So they had to keep that style on him, but it's just it
But I
just
mean, there's
doesn't
so
work.
many other ways you could have done it.
I think
I
I've
mean,
seen a few others, like some other
like
designers
mock-ups.
showcase, oh, here's how it should have been done, and you're like, and I think they brought in the smoking skull, not smoking skull, sorry, the big eagle style, and you're like, yeah, do you know what? Even that's
Yeah.
better, and it's just
I
like,
mean, even like at least they've given it a go with the one Seth got. Do you know
well,
what I mean?
that's the
They've given
thing.
it a
It's
crack
like,
at
again,
changing it a little bit.
I thought it was. Again, unless they, I
It's
mean,
reminiscent of the big
this wouldn't
gold,
be the
yeah.
first time that their website's wrong. But again, not you don't believe everything that you read online. Like I've just read so many comments on it saying that it was continuing the lineage of the big gold, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's the big gold. It looks
Maybe
like
they
it.
don't
It's
even
like,
fucking know.
yeah, maybe
But
they
yeah,
haven't
this
updated their website yet.
yeah,
but that's the thing. Yeah, it's an homage to that title. So and it looks like it, and they've given it a go. It looks nice ish. Some bits look a bit scruffy and ugly, but it's a
Yeah.
WWE title, isn't it? They haven't looked good for a while.
they're just props, aren't they, nowadays? I mean, they're held on
Yeah.
with fucking Velcro. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
actually. So
Well, on
yeah.
the subject of Seth, like obviously, well, spoiler, he won it. I don't even think we
Yeah,
talked about at Night
yeah.
of Champions. It went to Night of Champions. But did you read that there was a load of chatter around him potentially not going to be the title, not win it because he's in Captain America?
Yeah, I read something about that, but then I don't think he's not like the fucking star of it, is he? He's probably
Yeah,
got
exactly.
like a tiny little cameo. I feel like whenever a wrestler is in a decently kind of budget
Yeah.
film or project of some kind outside of wrestling, that is always then the next rumor, like, oh, they're going to leave the business, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And then it comes out and they're in it for like 10 minutes and you have to kind of squint and they're like, oh, yeah, he's in the background. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nobody even knows what the role is or anything, do they?
Well, Mercedes Moné was in The
Mandalorian.
yeah. And Becky Lynch was in Young Rock as playing Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah. But I mean, imagine if you're like, I don't know, an actor trying to make it big and you score the role of Cyndi Lauper on Young Rock. You're hardly like, oh my God, my life's about to change.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
so, like, why would theirs? I don't know. To me, it's just always
yeah.
blown
It
out of
seemed
proportion
as
whenever
though
this
that it
happens.
was a bit. It was funny that there was all this chatter about, oh, he's not. They're apprehensive about putting the belt on him, and my thoughts were what yours were, which was it's not a minor role. It's about as big as like.
But how does anyone know how big a role
Sasha
is?
Banks, Mercedes Moné's, because the character that he's playing is in the comic books quite relatively prominent.
Has anyone read the fucking script? How do they know?
Yeah, true. Exactly.
It could be a cameo at the fucking end of the film.
True.
Who knows?
So, but yeah. So it was funny.
On him, do you think he's the right option?
Yeah, yeah. Building up to it, going into it, he's the right person to hold on to this title, isn't he?
Who else, apart from someone like maybe, I don't know, AJ Styles or something like that, who else could it be at the moment?
There's a point I wanted to make, which was Edge cut a really good promo, threw it on online as well, and it was like, I'm going to have one more run, and then I'm going to retire. But that he lost in the three-way, which, by the way, that three-way was incredible. It was a really, really good.
I've not watched Night of Champions.
Sorry. This was a SmackDown qualifier.
Oh, sorry, yeah, before
AJ Styles, Edge, and Rey Mysterio. It was there was a few little botches, but that's like 45-year-old. You could tell their age kind of came into a little bit. But the structure of it, it's I won't jump too far into the AEW stuff, but the structure of how they had their three-way was similar to like how the four-way went in that.
Oh right, okay.
Double or Nothing in the.
It was everyone pressing their finisher button.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like it was a fight, and there was no the stuff that you normally get where somebody gets thrown out the ring and they're taking a rest for something. Injury that would take an injury that would normally like take a guy out the ring and then he'll stand up and he'll crawl back in. He spends 15 minutes just stood there like at the bottom of the ring ropes, just looking and waiting. There we go, it's my move. But
Yeah.
see, suspension of disbelief didn't have to be sort of stretched too far. But yeah, it was a really, really good match. But yeah, Edge would have been another choice for me because it there was an interesting story there for him. Maybe Finn Balor would have been one to have
Yeah,
a bit
Finn,
of
maybe.
bit more gold in.
I mean, so Cody's
Judgment
injured
Day.
again now, isn't he? Or is that kayfabe?
Sorry,
Cody is injured again, or is it kayfabe?
I
that he's
think it's
injured?
kayfabe injury.
Do you think
to keep him away from it?
Yeah. Do you think that? I mean, the ultimate, maybe like I don't know, next WrestleMania, but he's gonna have his moment at some point, isn't he?
He's got to he's
So I
got to finish
imagine-
his story.
Yeah, I imagine. But I mean, what a kick in the bollocks though to have all that. Oh, I'm gonna finish a story and all that shit, and then it's like, oh yeah, you can finish a story, but with a much
With a
lesser
different-
title.
Yeah,
Like,
with a
I
different
don't know.
title. I'm
It's
kind of
kind
glad
of-
he had nothing. He kind of, yeah, he
It was in a different.
got
yeah.
out of it straight. Well, they threw Brock at him, didn't they? To
Yeah.
sort of, they used Brock as an excuse for him to not lose clean in the 3-way qualifier. So I think they're distracting him with Brock for a little while they tidy up the bloodline story. But
Yeah.
now the problem is now they've merged again. We don't know until later on because I'm pretty sure they must have merged those the two titles. So the lineage is now this
Yeah, they
undisputed
must have
universal.
done, I guess.
Does it not feel like it's not the one? It's not the belt that Cody wanted. It's not the lineage that Cody wanted. They're calling it the undisputed universal champion. He didn't want that. He wanted the WWE
Championship. Yeah.
championship.
It kind of feels like to me that.
So is this where they're going to give it to Seth and Cody and have that? And that's
I don't
inside
know.
the story. I don't know.
But why is that? Yeah, neither. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I guess it just feels to me like they're in danger, and they probably have been for like a good, I don't know, probably since they were making the spinner title. It feels like the more and more diluted they make these things, the less that they matter.
Yeah,
But maybe that's partly the point that it's not the titles, and it's not necessarily the wrestlers. It's just the brand that brings you to it nowadays, rather than anything else.
yeah.
So
Well, that's
maybe
what
it's
they've been
by
trying to do,
design.
haven't they, for several years now? To
Yeah.
have essentially you're going to see WWE. You're not going to and WWE and your favorite superstars. You're not going to see a specific wrestler because look at AEW when they they've got CM Punk who's like the biggest draw, like a single draw that's gonna. But then again, on the flip side, to be honest, looking at AEW, they've sold out 60,000 seater over here
with no card,
with no card. So they've sold it.
But
on
I mean,
their
imagine
brand.
the backlash if like Kenny Omega, CM Punk, the Young
Oh yeah,
Bucks,
if they don't
imagine
turn
if they're
up.
not there,
and you get the card that I suggested,
fucking,
Mr. Blobby,
Action Andretti or whatever his name is, and that's it.
Yeah. Action Andrade versus Krishnan and Guru Murthy.
Yeah. And they have to, like we talked about before, they have to fill time with a raffle halfway through.
Yeah, that's WWE been trying to do that but then they've kind of got Roman sort of sits in this world alone from it. But then again, he's still on what is technically classed as their secondary.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. SmackDown is no longer the secondary one, is it? Raw was always seen as the primary show, but I think the money that's been given from Fox to WWE. So Night of Champions again. I'm just thinking again. We're still stuck. I think this Bloodline stuff just is WWE really. The tag titles.
It feels like it's probably one of the greatest storylines they've ever done, but it's feeling like it's dragging on a little bit.
It's ran its course. Well, this is the thing. It could be done better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to come up with some magical ways to how it could have been done better, but after the Sami Zayn being booted out at Royal Rumble, they've not really kept it on the tracks.
No.
Really,
it's felt very much like treading water, hasn't it? For the last few months.
Just waiting for things to happen, and then this one was it's kind of like turning it hot and cold again each time, and it went cold for a little while, and they heated it up a bit more with Roman and Solo going to Night of Champions to compete for the tag titles. I thought it would have been an interesting quirk that if Roman would have been pinned. I think he should have been pinned, really. But they didn't. Again, I don't know. I don't think it's one of those ones where sometimes the logic is they think that if they're pinning him, that makes him a hell of a lot more weaker.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think that would have been the more
that
interesting.
shows the cracks starting to show, though, doesn't it? That's storytelling 101.
Yeah.
But,
so obviously Solo got pinned, but Jimmy is the one that super kicked him and went mental.
Yeah,
And
I'm not like I keep up with WWE, but I don't watch it religiously like I used to because AEW has filled that void and I can't be arsed basically. But I don't know where they're going next with it, but at least something has happened now, I suppose, with the whole bloodline thing. So I guess the next part of the story will be interesting.
We'll find out a little bit more on Friday as to what's going on. With that, I'm still struggling as to what the end game is with it because I don't think either Jimmy
are they
or
trying to make I don't think because look, I've heard rumors that they're going to make one of the Usos like into a solo kind of superstar. I don't see that happening.
No.
They're getting fucking DUIs every couple of weeks, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, is it Solo that's going to take the title? But then
is that what's the? I mean, is the end game to this? And they're treading water a little bit because the end game is Roman against The Rock.
Yeah,
and that's what they're trying to kind of build towards because that would fit with the bloodline storyline as a whole, obviously, because I guess he's technically part of it, and then him coming in would be an interesting dynamic to it all. But that would mean them stretching it out to Mania,
yeah.
So it's another year of this, and they're not going to strike kind of fire again with someone like Sami Zayn.
They can't.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that what the goal is? And now they're like
scrambling.
Fuck. Yeah, they're trying to figure it out. I don't know.
But moving away finally from the bloodline, then other stuff that happened at Night of Champions. Asuka, she won the Raw Women's title, which again,
has she been champ before? She hasn't.
She has. Yeah. Oh, hang on. No, sorry. Did she win? Sorry, I think she won the SmackDown Women's title.
It might have been SmackDown. Yeah.
Because what made it weird was Bianca got drafted. This is the thing with the WWE at times. They did the draft, and the draft means absolutely diddly squat.
It's weird that they're still doing the draft when clearly...
Well, they've always kind of... I don't know. I think they kind of put the draft on ice for a bit, didn't they? Or they always continue to do it.
2021.
Yeah, she's. I think she's won it all, hasn't she? She's a triple crown or whatever yeah. But, yeah, they... there was talk of them sort of... Again, debranding the titles and just it becoming a heavyweight and a WWE.
Really.
So then it allows you to then sort of forget about the brand, the draft BS. But yeah, Bianca then got drafted to Raw and she had the SmackDown title, and and then they went the other way around.
Yeah, they did a swap, didn't they? Almost.
But then, that happened a few years ago, didn't it? With Charlotte and Becky, and they did the whole little stupid tug of war bollocks and then they were bloody shooting on each other and dropping it, and it just looked awkward. And you're like, it just felt
Roman
embarrassing.
Do one of them once, the tug of war? Who was that with?
I think Brock do it. Or something?
Maybe, it's Brock and Roman. I think. Yeah. God.
Yeah,
it never.
I think good. that's what they're thinking. But again, it just didn't look, and they just dropped the titles, and it's just I was like, the optics do not look good on this, and it's and you're switching your lineages, and I mean we've just done 20 minutes on lineages and how confusing they are. But the interesting thing from that match was the crowd were turning on Bianca. And
were they?
They have been. So this wasn't just a Saudi thing as well. The crowds have kind of been turning on her.
Interesting.
In the US.
I thought she was a huge.
She was, and I think it was maybe. Well, she had the title for 300 and odd days. She had it for quite a while, but didn't do much with it.
I mean, people just get fucking bored, don't they? Same thing. Yeah,
and I think it might have been a bit of a John Cena effect. And so, and I don't know if there's I'm reading that there's a lot of negativity towards Montez Ford as well, and so they're thinking, could they potentially put them together and have them as a heel couple? Because everybody loves a heel couple in wrestling.
God, sure, you just you figure out why the kind of.
Or just
where
tear
the
them
fight is
heel
going, or
individually.
just-
Like, I mean, a heel Bianca could be interesting, but I think one of the
She
might.
was heel in NXT, wasn't she? At one point, I vaguely remember.
I don't know how much of a
She
heel
did the
she
whip
was.
thing.
Yeah, but I
I
don't know how
vaguely
much of a
remember.
heel she was. I think she was a heel, and that got her over as a face
Yeah,
again.
I'm pretty sure
So
she used to be a heel.
yeah,
When
it's
she
like a
first
cocky.
debuted. Yeah.
Yeah. But apparently she's like, again, John Cena, the who all the girls want to go see for Make-A-Wish Foundation and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
she
she's
seems
so
to do a lot of good when it comes to things
so
like
it's
that.
like
So
not a poison chalice, but it's like a double-edged sword. It's like, do they turn her? But then I suppose you can still do your Make-A-Wish stuff. Women's matches again. Natalia, she was in
on her birthday as well, wasn't it?
Was it a birthday?
Pretty sure it's a birthday. Yeah.
Oh Christ!
She got squashed, didn't she?
There's a squashing, and then she lasted 1 minute and 10 seconds.
My God, I have long thought that everyone backstage, like the creative team or Vince or Triple H or whoever it is, but I just think they fucking hate her. Like the farting gimmick, stuff like this. Like she's just so weird, and she's always been a bit of an oddball with the cats and stuff, hasn't she?
And her sister.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest Instagram account ever.
Yeah.
But I just feel sorry for her. Like the fact that they flew her out all the way to Saudi.
One of the people who had the first women's match in Saudi Arabia as well, right? When they were all covered up a few years ago.
Exactly. Was that against Alexa Bliss?
I can't remember who it was against.
I think it was against Alexa Bliss. But yeah, just flew her all the way out there to not again walk down the aisle, get a mild response, and then get battered in. It wasn't even like that vicious a squash, really.
Lacey Evans.
Was just was it Lacey Evans? It was just like bang, 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 done. And there was no explanation as to why, and I just thought
she's got to be soon kind of ready to hang it up, you would think.
Yeah.
Because she's been around for years and years and years. You think she probably has a job for life there, and she might as well save her kind of body and actually be.
Well, that's the thing. She is saving her body because she's not been in the ring for more than a minute and a half.
Well, the traveling, Daniel.
It's the traveling on the body. It's
as we know, those long flights.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much that was Night of Champions, really, and that's WWE in a nutshell. They haven't really done much. You've got the new title that was given to Roman for 1,000 days.
Yeah, I guess we'll we'll see what happens with Roman. It's going to be very intriguing to see like you said, kind of on obviously this episode's coming out Friday, so tonight's episode of SmackDown to see what kind of happens next.
The fallout, yeah.
Yeah.
So
on the other side with AEW, there's been a few bits and bobs happening, kind of similar, really, where the main bit of news is probably stemming from a event. So I don't know, did you watch Double or Nothing?
I did watch Double or Nothing.
Yeah. What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. It was probably
the build.
The build are a bit shit. Not much going on. The 4-way, the build, I must say, was really good. Then got really shit, and then
it was fucking abysmal. The build to that.
I thought the build was good at the start, and then they left the microphone in their hands. I think they build it up too early. They had, what is it, maybe a 5-week build, a 6-week build?
Yeah, I think that's it. If it have kind of been 2 weeks, and then the
but then people would have complained. People would have complained and gone, "Oh, it's 2-week build for a thingy."
Yeah, it just felt like it dragged, didn't it?
I think they did the same thing too many times. I think that they probably thought they struck gold with that first promo 4-way because everyone was like, "Oh, bloody hell, they're really good." how good was that promo 4-way? Da, 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 da. And it kind of like was doing numbers on socials and everything. And they thought, oh, let's do it again. It's like, oh, all right. And then they kind of stumbled because it's like, well, I've said everything I needed to say. Now let me try and tell the story in another way, as opposed to me going out there and chatting shit for 20 minutes at the start of the show. And yeah, it dwindled off a little bit, and then MJF kind of like reignited at the end. However, the match itself was incredible.
Yeah, it was a good match, right?
Yeah, it was a really good match. One of the best 4-ways I've seen like in a long time. I can't think, and again, I think the only reason why there's other 4-ways that stand out is probably rose tinted glasses and history, sort of like. I mean, do you look at the McMahon in all 4 corners from WrestleMania 2000 as a good 4-way? I kind of always do look at it, but then I've watched.
Remember it.
I've watched it back over the last maybe about 6 months ago, and gone, it's not that good, but it's still good because I think you've got that nostalgia sort of look back at it. But from an actual structure perspective, this 4-way Double or Nothing was like
it was very
incredible.
Good. It was very full on, right? And it didn't kind of it kind of started in 5th gear and then never went down. It was very good. Yeah, they all did a good job, and I thought the ending with the whole headlock takeover thing with MJF and Darby Allin was nice. And I think I'm intrigued to see where. Like, I hope they all kind of just fuck off for a bit now in terms of like Jungle Boy. I think he's just waiting on me. Like, they're all great wrestlers, but more like the characters. Darby Allin, he's fine. Are
you just fine on Darby?
He's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Those weird videos before he has a big match, like it's just shit.
That was a weird one as well, actually, that he did before.
He's just one of those people who's like, I don't know. I think he thinks he's like cooler than he is almost.
Yeah.
I don't know, something about all that.
Sammy is probably going to fall back in line with the JAS.
I think that's probably right as well. I think MJF needs a big feud now, like a proper big feud, because otherwise it feels like he's just kind of.
He needs to elevate
feels
himself
like they
above.
had a plan. Yeah, he needs to kind of go up to that upper echelon, I think. And it feels like they had a plan, obviously, with him against Punk before all the brawl out shit.
Yeah.
But now it's almost like between then and now, it's almost like they've just been treaded water with him, kind of waiting for Punk to come back to maybe feud with him eventually. I don't know, but it feels like he needs something bigger.
The Danielson feud was really good. Like,
yeah, it was. Yeah. But still, it was kind of like, because of when it was, you knew he was. There was like no, and similar with this, there's no jeopardy for him because you know he's not going to lose to any of them. So it just, I don't know. I always like a wrestling story is kind of, which way is it going to go? Who's going to win? When you kind of know who's going to win, it's
there's no number two. There's no distinct. Well, the distinct number 2 in that business right now. Well, I say number 2, but the opposite is Omega, isn't it? But he's just distracted.
But he's kind of happy to dip in and out when
Moxley's in. Yeah, again, this is the thing. The pair of them are involved in multi-man feuds, so it's like, what are they? And has Moxley been involved in the world title for too many times now? But I mean,
I think he needs a break. Kind of.
That's why they're throwing him into this multi-man, aren't they? With BCC, and you're like keeping him out of the way for a little bit. And you talked about like keeping wrestlers like Cody's out of the way with Brock and
distractions
like Mox's. So it's like. But the problem is when you keep him out of the way, who are they going to be able to heat up? Is it Eddie Kingston? I mean,
but that seems to me like they're never going to put the title on him. So it's they're
not. But could they? Have they? I don't know if they've done him versus MJF yet.
Can't remember.
So
to me, it feels like you need, like, I don't know, Punk or someone like that.
That's the thing. Is it going to be Punk again? Like,
one thing I was thinking was like, will they do like Adam Cole? But after his fucking showing at the pay-per-view, I don't think that'll happen for a long time.
What did you think? So as much as I enjoy, I thought Double or Nothing was great. This is the thing which I love about AEW. It was a bang average pay-per-view, but it was still pretty great.
For them, you mean? Like
for
average
them,
for them.
Bang average for them. Yeah. So I came out of it and gone, that wasn't that good. Like there was a few things where I kind of scratched my head.
Like half the matches Like there was like maybe 2 or 3 matches that were like not great,
Oh yeah.
and then like 2 or 3 that were fucking amazing, and then the rest in them was kind of just
Mush.
decent, like fine in the
Well,
middle.
the Jericho one, like, I'm sure it just felt like it's. Well, I mean, the crowd didn't like it, and I just felt,
No.
this is.
It felt like they were wrestling in invisible mud almost.
Yes,
it was just like so slow and plodding, and like it was just a really weird match because.
But it was it was supposed to be like a blood feud, wasn't it? But it was there was
exactly.
no speed.
No, like if you compare that to something like the dog collar match between MJF and CM Punk,
Yeah,
like it's just fucking worlds apart, isn't it? Or the later on in the night, I know it's more people, but the Anarchy in the Arena match, like that was insane and like intense, and there's stuff going on all the time. Whereas it was almost like two people. I know Jericho's old, but it was like 2 old men wrestling.
But it was like 2
weapons.
lads who were like, we're not going to take it because there's, I don't know, is this Jericho politicking where he goes, they're going to throw blood in the in the Anarchy match, like we don't need to.
But you don't need blood. I'm not saying that, but just
or rather,
be intense.
We don't need to. It's like, but it's him. Why bring out the chain?
Adam Cole fucking around with that fire extinguisher.
Yeah,
is like the match made me. I was like just on my phone, like oh my god.
Felt like, in fact, no, I didn't even feel like I did press skip 10 seconds, skip 10 seconds. And I skipped forward
like time was standing still.
There was parts of that match where I was just like, oh, they're still with the chain. Oh, they're still fucking about with the chain.
Yeah.
And I skipped like 4 times and it'd go like plus 110 seconds. I'm like, I've skipped like a minute and a half here, 2 minutes, and they're still doing the same shit. It's like, okay, right. And then you watch a little bit more and be like,
it was almost like they should have just get rid of all the gimmicks because they didn't add anything on weapons and just have a really, really intense, good wrestling match.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it just didn't. I
don't think they clicked. And this is the thing as well. Like,
you never know.
What does Adam Cole do next? Because is he? The problem is,
it seems like it's continuing, doesn't it? Because they had the match,
the tag team match. But I think but this is the thing. I think it's over now because Jericho said, "I don't like you, but I respect you." So I think I think their feud is now over. But this is the thing.
But they can't put Adam Cole in like the title picture.
No.
After that showing.
Where did I put him on my fantasy? I think I threw him into the international, didn't I? Trying to put some gold on the international title. Yeah, I think I gave it to Jay White. Gave the international title to Jay White and then put Adam Cole in a feud with him. But again, Jay White's feuding with Ricky.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll tell you what was a good use of gimmicks. That fucking exploding super kick.
Yeah, that was quality.
That was so good. That's Matt Jackson super kicking Moxley. Oh, in my word.
It was, it's the first time they've got Pyro right.
Yeah, but it was fucking amazing. Like I always love it when they do something like that and you're like, how the hell did they do that? It was so
I think there's a video of him backstage, isn't there, when he's like, they're strapping it. I think it might have been, I don't know if it was on Being the Elite or if it was
mean more like, how do they trigger it? Because when he still walks to the ring, doesn't he? And then
and he's got a shoe, but I think he might have like some like attached to it, and then like it's either remote, like he might have a remote in his hand, and then as soon as he kicks, he presses it. It'll have probably been like a remote trigger.
So cool.
But I saw there's a video of them strapping it up onto him, and then they had to. Did you hear the crowd booing? So Claudio fucking punted it into the crowd. And everyone was like, yeah. And they were looking at the boot.
The shoe. Yeah.
And they had to go get the shoe back because obviously it's got fucking pyro wrapped around it. So dangerous. So so then you could hear the crowd booing. So I'm like, they've had to take that shoe back.
Did you see, because the shoes, obviously they always wear like kind of new limited edition Jordans or whatever. They were like a new Spider-Man set of Jordans.
Yeah.
And it like went semi-viral on like Instagram and Twitter because everyone was like, this wrestler has just ruined a brand new rare pair of Jordans by blowing them up on someone's face. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Sneakerheads kicking off.
Yeah. Because they go, I don't get their fascination with buying trainers, but they love them. But it was, and then the spot afterwards where it got dumped into, and you had the pins in his feet.
Yeah,
So
that
it was
was good.
all well worked as well.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
it was a good build to that whole thing. The obviously I know now they had to get rid of him so they could strap him up for that. But the bit where where Claudio, like, I think he did a pile driver or something in the back of that pickup truck.
Yeah.
I was like, what are they doing? It was just so weird. I was like, he's just done a pile driver to him in a pickup truck and left him there. How is no one like driving that pickup truck or something like that? But obviously the
Driving it off,
reason was so that they could get rid of him for a bit, so they could strap him
Yeah.
up. But it's that made me kind of like, what's happening here? But yeah, it was great.
What did you think to the music?
Oh, the music! I thought do it for a quarter of the time and it works, but after as long as it was on for, it was just irritating me. Or at least get the balance of audio right between crowd, music, and announcers, because it was just it's meant to be chaotic, right? And that's the reason why they
well,
did
it's
it.
apparently, well, not apparently, it was a reference to last year's one where they
Yeah,
left
they
the
couldn't
music
turn it
looping
off.
and then
Yeah.
they slammed it. Well, I don't know, this is a thing, because obviously they slammed them through a table and the music stopped playing then. So I don't know
Yeah,
if
so
it was
maybe it was
deliberate,
bullshit.
if it was
Yeah.
deliberate that they did that. But yeah, it was a reference to it playing on loop last year, and I don't mind it. Maybe just have a band playing music as opposed to playing the same track.
Yeah,
But then
the
again, I
same thing
suppose
over
the
and over
whole
again.
joke is it's Moxley's Wild Thing.
And it continues on, yeah. Yeah, there's the balance of it for me. I was just, oh my god, it was like almost giving me it was like being in a fever dream almost, which I guess is the point. But
got it. I liked it, and then yeah, you were like, because I knew that had happened, that the band were playing, so I was like, and then I saw a picture, so I was like, oh right, I'm expecting. So I was waiting for that to happen. So I spoiled it a little bit. So I was waiting for the Young Bucks to eventually super kick the lead singer. What do you think about the discourse around him wearing blackface?
I was like, I saw everyone kind of kicking off about that, and I was like, but it
his
was
gimmick.
a mask.
Yeah, he wears a mask. Yeah. It's his gimmick. Like, that's what he does. He wears like either a white mask and paints like the bottom of his mouth white, or he wears a black mask and paints the bottom of his mouth black. Like,
yeah, I mean,
they're not a big band at all, but
yeah. It was weird that everyone was kind of. If he'd have been like full on in blackface, and I've got the kind of people.
They were like saying, "Oh, it's because he put a red thing across his like a square," and you're like, "Oh, are you reaching?" But
no.
It's one of those ones where, because he's not well known enough, and he's got a visual gimmick as an artist.
It's not, like, Slipknot, whoever else, they all had masks, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing.
So,
still double or nothing. Women's titles, they both changed hands.
Yeah.
What did you think to the Toni Storm and what's her face match?
Well, we discussed this before, didn't we? When I was fantasy booking it, saying I think she's injured. Well, no, I think everyone knows she's legitimately injured. So, and they went in with the match. Apparently, she was like she was literally hanging on by a thread, like body wise. I heard that
as well. But why do it? Just relinquish the title.
Well, this is the thing. It would, if she'd have relinquished the title, this would have been the second time that Toni Storm would have picked up a title as an interim.
But and this is more kind of this is not about storylines or anything like that, but I just think, why risk injuring someone more? And I know they're playing it safe and all of that, but if something happens, like, shit happens, doesn't it? Like, just relinquish the title, have a match with a top Toni Storm and whoever, and job done. So maybe I don't see why you have to risk injuring people.
Yeah,
because it's your shit match as well. It means that you're giving the fans a lesser product because of it, just to make someone but to
make a champion,
to push themselves through and kind of do that. And maybe it might have been her wanting to do it, and that's fair enough. But I don't know. For me, it was a bit like, it feels like a shame, because it's like, why risk it, basically.
They must. I don't think they'd have risked it too much, because, based on how injured she was.
What do you think to Toni Storm being the one,
the champion?
Yeah, I can't stand any of them now.
Do you not like any of the Outcasts? Who would you put the women's title on though?
I don't know.
Like, what do you not? Do you just don't like the Outcast thing as a?
It's just as a gimmick. I just think it's crap. I don't know. The women, I guess maybe.
The women's division's just a bit forgotten about. That's the problem at times.
Yeah, it's not doing the
So
best.
this is realistically, if you think about it, this is the first time since the Nightmare Collective that they've actually given them the women's division a storyline to compete with. The problem is it's still focused around Britt Baker.
But that's the thing, and we all know how it's going to go. She's going to, well, I assume at some point she will turn on Jamie Hayter.
And win the title.
Like if Jamie Hayter hadn't have got injured, I assume at some point between now and Wembley, Britt Baker would have turned on Hayter. She'd have lost the title, and then she would have got it back at Wembley, and that would be the big UK moment. I imagine that's probably also why they've done it as soon as they could, so that she can go away, get healthy in time for Wembley.
I don't think she's... Well, this is the thing. They said that she was hanging on by a thread and she was like injured. Like there's a lot of injuries. But then when you actually look at the match, she still had... It was...
Yeah.
I mean, she was beaten up and thrown in the ring.
Towards the end, you could tell she was like, I am fucked here. But that could have just been good acting,
selling,
good wrestling, selling, yeah.
And it was like... But yeah, she still had a somewhat competitive match. So it was like, right, okay, so she's not that injured. So my sort of fantasy booking of her coming back to All In and winning.
I imagine that's what the plan is,
that
right?
Must be what the plan is, yeah. But it's going to be against Toni Storm. Or, well, it's going to be against Toni Storm.
I don't know. I don't think they can sustain Toni Storm for however many months it is. I really don't.
2 months? 2 months, 2.5 months.
Is it only 2 months? God. All right, maybe they can. I just
think three in it if you count the weeks. Like, almost 3 months.
Yeah.
But
what about Chris Statlander beating Jade Cargill?
I like that the title's off her, but I didn't like...
Did you not like the way they did it?
The way they did it. I don't know. Because I don't like my heels being super stupid. Really stupid. And I get that. I think you needed more weeks of her doing this. So she'd previously, I think on it might have been the Rampage previous or even the Dynamite previous, she won. Then Smart Mark came out and said that was too easy. Give us another one, and she went and won another one.
But I mean,
she only did that once though.
I think she did that a while ago as well, a little bit. But I think that it aligns to her character.
Yeah, I'd have liked to have done it.
She would do
week after week after week, because that was a thing. Like, I only sort of, I was like, "What the friggin' hell is she doing that?" And then obviously read online, going, "Oh yeah." It wasn't stuck in my mind, and I think a lot of fans as well. It wasn't stuck in them. It was just a stupid move. Like,
it was stupid, but I think.
But the problem is,
it's not out of the realm of possibility for her character.
The problem is they couldn't do it because she was hitting 60, and that's the reason why they did the double. They did it it the week previous. Oh, I've just won one. I'm going to have another one. That was too easy. And yes, they've protected her because she had a very tough match against Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And it seems like probably Taya Valkyrie is going to continue feuding despite losing 2 world title TNT title TBS title matches back to back against Statlander. And then I'm guessing they're moving Cargill. Oh, she's taking time off apparently.
Yeah, she's going away for a bit, I think. Yeah.
So,
so
maybe
my feeling on this is that I get what you mean by it being kind of stupid, but it also, if they'd have had a normal competitive match, and I know you're not saying this, but a lot of people have been saying like they should have built Chris Statlander up more on her return, and then they should have had a normal match.
Yeah,
I think then it's like, all right, she beat her, because then that obviously makes it maybe better for Chris Statlander in terms of she kind of, well,
it's a bit of a heelish thing from Statlander, isn't it? But then again, I don't know, like everyone's Statlander's,
but you've got a ready-made feud now for when she does come back. So it's like ready to go, and it's obviously one that's got a bit of history and stuff like that, so it works perfectly. And I think it's like, it's not, I mean, I don't think it's that heelish. I think it's more kind of smart, opportunistic.
Exactly. Yeah, as I say, sometimes I just don't like when stupid
they act
things
like dummies.
Yeah, they act like dummies, and it's just like, oh, okay, fair enough. And I'm like, why have you done that? But you knew that they needed to get it off her. Excuse me, 61. Yeah.
I am glad that she's a champ now. I think she'll be very much sink or swim in terms of how she does as
Yeah.
champion. But I think you
She
could have
needs
said
to
the same
stay
about
away
like Orange
from-
Cassidy.
Yeah, same like what's happened with Orange Cassidy. He's been a good champion, but he stayed away from best friends.
Yeah.
She needs to stay away from the best friend circle, like that stuff, and like
I
any
think
backstage
they
segments.
can kind of be on the fringes, but not out of it. She needs to stand on her own 2 feet.
It needs to be a serious championship that's defended. I think. I don't. Yeah,
We shall see.
I don't see her. It don't work if she goes back into that sort of quirky, funny best friends.
No, I agree. Yeah. And then
Gimmicky
the
thing.
next day they release her on a skateboard jumping around the video game thing. So yeah, we'll see. Final piece to talk about CM Punk.
The main event.
Yeah, so they obviously announced his. They announced that the first collision will take place in Chicago.
Actually, how did they announce this, Carl? They did one Wednesday. They announced
Collision.
they
stretched it over fucking 3 weeks, didn't they? But clearly, like, we're gonna do Collision. Oh,
cool.
The first one's gonna be in Chicago, and then it's like, ticket sales aren't good enough. We're gonna announce CM Punk. CM Punk's gonna be there on the first one. There you go. Fucking Christmas is ruined. Yeah. Well, I assume that's what happened anyway, because I don't think tickets were moving that well, were they? Versus the last time they did it. What do you think to this whole Collision business?
I hope that it's going to be. It's not going to be a Rampage 2.0. I don't think it is going to be, because obviously they've guaranteed that this is going to be live recordings.
I also think Rampage will fuck off, not in the not too distant future.
Do you reckon they'll
Wouldn't
just drop it from the
and just have Dynamite and Collision?
Well, I think Rampage is going to become like the Dark.
Oh, is it?
Well, they're replacing. Well, Dark's been
got rid of Dark Elevation.
Dark Elevation's getting dropped anyways, because the agreement is for Warner Brothers, isn't it? That's the
yeah. But they've got an agreement. So they had an agreement for Dynamite and Rampage.
Yeah.
They've now done Collision, which is more of an add-on, and they've not redone a new deal. So
Right.
when that original deal comes up, obviously they'll renegotiate everything. And I think part of that negotiation will probably be like, we're giving you 5 hours of TV. It's too much. Reduce it to 4, and obviously we'll see what happens. But it wouldn't shock me anyway if that's what happened.
But yeah, so they're apparently going to be recording Ring of Honor. Oh, sorry.
With Collision, and then Dynamite.
With Collision, yeah, and Dynamite with
Rampage.
Rampage with Dynamite, yeah. So it'll be this split roster thing is I'm not a big fan of, but
have they confirmed? I don't think AEW has actually
nobody's
confirmed
actually
that.
said it. But then they have kind of said this with they've used specific wrestlers on the press release, or rather
on the
Warner
poster.
Brothers.
Yeah, but then they
specific
changed it.
names for a roster. Oh, have they? If
they changed it before. Well, they had CM Punk on there as well, and then they removed.
Oh no, sorry, yeah, but I mean, they never mentioned anybody else that is currently wrestling now. All of those wrestlers that were on that press release were. I think Chris Jericho might be the only one that I don't even know if he was.
I think Miro. It was Miro, Andrade, Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Thunder Rosa, and someone else.
So everyone else that's not wrestling right now, like
but
so.
I mean, there's been hints to it, but then MJF's on the poster, Orange Cassidy's on the poster.
Yeah,
like I don't know. It might be a split, and if it is, it might be interesting.
Ideally, like it not to be a split, because I don't like this split brand.
I can't stand it.
Because then I never liked
eventually they will be like, oh, we need a title for here. Oh, we need a title for there.
Exactly, yeah. You need to keep it interesting over here. You need to keep it interesting over there. I used to like it back in the day when you'd watch, even during shit SmackDown where it was a Raw recap, but like when there was a bit of crossover. But again, old school, like OG
when
SmackDown
started,
where you'd watch it on a Monday. And then there's something had happened on a Thursday, and you're like, right, okay, or a Friday, or whenever they moved it around.
What is really good at as well is recapping what happened on the Raw, because now they like WWE is good for it, but they will be like, oh, this happened on Raw, and that's why this person has now turned up. Or here's the what you've missed. If you missed it, here's kind of the context. AEW are crap for that, so that's what they need to get better at if it is going to be like spread across both.
Yeah, because that's what Rampage. It kind of became that for a while, and now, and then they moved away from it. They found a format which was like competitive match squash, squash, competitive match done, and it was there'd be one crossover match from Rampage, from Dynamite, and that'd be, and they knew they'd be able to get the pop because they knew, oh, we're recording that after here, so the crowd. Whereas if you remember back in, well, the big thing on WWE was whenever anybody came out and goes, "I will see you on SmackDown," and like, boo, it's like because I'm not watching that fight now. So this is the thing now. So there's going to be the quandary of they're going to have to set up matches for Saturday on a Wednesday, and they're going to have to compete with fans going, I
don't think that's too bad though, because they do that like for the following Dynamite a lot as well. Yeah. So I know what you mean. I guess we'll see how there's probably a lot of little things like that to work out, isn't there, and how they approach a lot.
Well, from a booking perspective, I know this isn't probably main news because this only came out a couple of days ago, but apparently Daniel Bryan's Bryan Danielson,
part of the creative team.
It's part of the creative team now. He's
I think he has been for a while.
It's been fully announced, and you kind of
right.
So it's been well, he's said, and he so.
By the way, because I think. Oh no, that was Tony Khan had the Battle Royal. That Battle Royal ending, best ending to a Battle Royal I've ever seen. Where he kind of Orange Cassidy kicked the guy, but
the actual
his foot
3 minutes as well was really, really good as well.
Best ending ever.
That's going to be a good feud for Orange Cassidy to go on with.
Yeah. Who back on Punk quickly before we wrap up. A lot of people are saying the reaction to him was mixed.
It was, yes.
It
was a definite, I'd say, an 80-20.
Yeah, maybe, that's what I thought. I didn't think it was anywhere close to like 50-50, like a lot of people were making out.
But you could hear definite boos.
Yeah.
And I was like, But I'm kind of like going, ooh, this could be good. And I was like, I kind of want Punk to come back as a heel.
Yeah. It wouldn't shock me, if he got a similar response. I know everyone in Chicago loves him and all that, but if you remember his last appearance when he was like, "Oh, it's me and you against me. You're not fighting me. You're fighting Chicago." Everyone was like, "Yeah, all right, yeah, whatever, mate." And everyone was really indifferent towards him, I thought, on that last Chicago thing. So it wouldn't shock me if he got that mixed reaction in Chicago as well. And if he does, it wouldn't shock me if that was kind of determined. All right, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go full heel straight off the bat. So it'd be interesting to see how he does play it.
I just hope that, he knows. He's a smart businessman, smart wrestler. He knows what's good for. But then I don't know. This
he went sometimes crazy at a press conference and then smacked around his
sometimes
colleagues.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a smart businessman guy, but then sometimes he lets his passion. I still can't get my head around that. By the way, I know we're supposed to be talking about May, but we're talking about a press conference that happened a year ago. I can't get my head around the fact that the owner of the company sat there,
just allowed it to happen,
and sat there and allowed him to.
Oh my God,
but then again, the thing that shocked me at first was him going, "Fucking this, fucking that, blah 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 blah," and I'm going, "Oh, this is a press conference." But I think that was the first time. That was the first time.
Donuts in his mouth.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd kind of watched one of those press conferences, because previous to that, the media scrums were a bit sort of vanilla, and he kind of like.
I've always thought they were quite good.
Really, I hadn't like I'd tuned in and gone, there's not much going on here, but that was the first time. But then since then, everyone seemed to be effing and jeffing, so it's like, this is the norm now.
They've always done a bit of that though.
Really? Yeah, that was it, because that was the thing. That was the first thing that shocked me. And then the more and more he started talking shit, and I was just like, why is he not saying anything?
They've never got to that extreme.
This is the thing. MJF's is kind of like he still doesn't.
But I mean, no one will ever. That will. Yeah, that was like a one-off. But
I just can't understand that. He just sat there and just was like, Okay. And
What should he have done? Do you think though?
shut the fuck up. That's
Yeah, I guess so.
that
But
literally.
also, like, Punk's one of those people. It seems that when he's off on one, he was like, no, 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 no. Like, do you know what I mean? You wouldn't have been able to take that mic out of his hand until he was done. I don't
But
think.
I don't know. It was
My kind
just,
of, I don't
which is
know.
why I said at the time that I work. I mean, but again, I don't know. Who knows right now? Maybe the whole world is. Maybe they're the smartest
That
guys
was a
in the
huge one.
entire world, and
I
this whole thing has been one giant work
No, I think
for a year.
I think the press conference and the fight that happened, I think that was all real. Beyond that, who fucking knows?
Yeah.
I think that's my thing though, is I don't really have an issue. It's a guy airing his grievances, and yeah, he's saying probably stuff he shouldn't be saying about his colleagues. It's the fact that they then get into a massive scrap backstage that just fucking baffles me. Like, how did the not? And it's not Khan's fault because he was still in the press conference, but how do all of the people backstage allow that to happen?
Oh,
It's
again,
insane.
it's either again. I'm just believing all the stuff that you read online where it is a bit of a cowboy factory backstage where there is
Yeah,
no true security. Like, whereas at WWE, I mean, you say that there's actual security, but didn't
there's just
Punk
a lot
tip
of
up
jobbers
to
in t-shirts, isn't it?
yeah, but actual security and stuff like that. But then it's like, then didn't Punk just tip up randomly, and then got told to sorry, you got to leave now. But then again, I
Yeah.
suppose I don't know
Did you see
how
the
much.
video of him stood around in the car park?
Yeah.
It looks like a smackhead asking for change.
What was that fan say? It's like, hey Phil, I won't say anything if you give me a signature to
Yeah.
sign my shirt. But it was, yeah. There's stories of like how they've tidied up their backstage area now, where it previous to that it was a bit of a, as I say, cowboy factory where you walk around and do whatever the hell you wanted, and there was no structure to it, and it wasn't like a professional environment. Now it is. But again, is that just people saying something for saying its sake, in the sense that feeding into this, oh, that's what it was like, and now it's much better, and that's the reason why this happened? And they're like, I don't know,
bollocks, isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah,
It's like, oh, it's all a big old wrestling work into it. We've been had, but
there was rumors that he's going to come back and go into a feud with Samoa Joe, but
why?
I think he needs to come back and have a feud with like MJF, Adam Page.
It needs to
be something fucking
Hangman
big.
straight off the bat.
It needs like history there, doesn't it?
Because it's like, if he doesn't come back and address everything, then you're like, then
if they pretend this doesn't happen,
yeah, then it really happened. Then it really happened, yeah.
And it's
then
still
you're like,
happening. It's still bad. Yeah.
And you're like, but then you're like, oh god. Then all these little, they're splitting their roster and they're keeping everyone happy, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and it's just going to be one big happy family. After like, oh, this is WWE 2.0.
Exactly.
Shit.
Can you imagine if he comes out to a mixed response in Chicago, and then you hear down, 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 and Adam Page comes out? I think the place would go fucking bananas, and them two going at it in a promo, and then that leads to All In at Wembley.
Well, I mean, there's only. Is it July? July is the when's
end of
Collision
June?
for?
I think it's like 20 something of June. I think.
Ah, right. So it's not long then. Ooh, exciting. But I thought it was for some reason I was like 17th of July or something.
17th of June.
Oh, 17th of June. Oh, but yeah, literally weeks.
It's very
perfect.
soon.
Oh, exciting then. But yeah, I mean, they need to address this. They 100% need to address this. Like, it's money on the table. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's the easiest feud. It writes itself.
That's the thing. You've got 6 months worth of wrestling done. You don't even need to do anything. So,
because at the moment as well, what they could do, obviously, Forbidden Door is kind of the current build, isn't it? So maybe I don't know. I don't even know when that is. When is Forbidden Door? That's June 25th, so the week after. So
yeah.
You could quite easily do a week of Punk coming back, getting his pats on the back, or a couple of weeks of that. And then Forbidden Door, all those storylines kind of, nice one, yep, see you later, back to Japan. And then the following week, that's when you kick off like the Elite against CMFTR or whatever they're calling themselves.
Well, the thing is, with Forbidden Door last year, they kind of still ran storylines parallel to it. And
Yeah. But what I mean is like, there's a lot of people probably who you'd want in that big storyline.
Yeah,
going to be involved in a Forbidden Door storyline or two, I would imagine. But we shall see what they cook up.
And we'll discuss.
I hope whatever happens, the payoff is all in at one point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That would be great. Thanks. All right. That'll do us, I think. That's May for you, everyone. We basically just went through 2 pay-per-views that
happened.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Had a bit of news that happened in June. Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you all next week, and I'll see you, Dan, in person. But for this week, we're all tapped out. Oh, no, I've done that the wrong way around.
With a lad from Hull. Let's call it
this
that.
This week, we're all tapped out.
With a lad from Hull.
Goodbye.